Okay, it's 4 o'clock, so we'll go ahead and get started. My name is Lydia Campos, and I work with the Work-Based Learning Team at the County Office of Education. Thank you for joining us for the second annual 2021 Go Virtual Career Pathways Conference. I will be your room host as well as your Zoom host today, so feel free to use the chat to ask questions throughout the session, and they'll be answered throughout the presentation and also at the end. So feel free to put in your questions. At the end of the presentation, I'll be displaying a certificate if you need proof that you attended this segment of the conference. So we'll put that in at the end, and then I'll also be providing a evaluation link for you to fill out. These are really helpful for us to improve our presentations. And that will be at the end of the presentation. And with that, I'd like to introduce Alex Becker from the San Diego County Office of Education, College and Career Readiness Department, with the presentation, Transform Your Schools into Career Readiness Hubs.
Hi, everyone. You guys can hear me okay?
Yes.
All right. Thanks. All right. So as Lydia said, I'm Alex Becker. I'm the program specialist of work-based learning here at the San Diego County Office of Education. And today's session is on adjustments that you can make at your school or with your staff and team to better prepare students for life after high school, and more specifically for their career. Since I'm sharing my screen, I can't necessarily see if you are unmuting or turning your camera on and you have a question, but I'm totally happy if you have to interrupt me to ask a question. So feel free to do so. I would actually prefer that. So just stop me if you have any questions about anything. All right, let's get it started. All right, so here's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to start with 4 areas of growth in terms of career readiness. And so we'll start with the first 2, which is essential skills and application development for students. Then the 3rd area will be building an employer network. The 4th area will be how to develop impactful and engaging student career events. And then once we've finished the 4 growth areas, I'm going to talk to you about resources and professional development that our team, the College and Career Readiness team at SDCOE, offers to you to help you develop in these areas. And then if we have time, I have some additional resources for you. So I'm hoping we'll wrap up a little bit early so I can talk to you about those. All right, so essential skills and application skills development for students. So when we talk about career readiness at SDCOE, we are talking about student proficiency in 3 categories of skills. So the first of these is technical skills and how to do a job. And we in education are really good at this skill category. Everything we teach is a technical skills. We've got math, scientific processes, foreign languages, how to write. On top of this, now we're starting to see career technical education and the proliferation of CTE pathway programs. So in these, you have students learning advanced skills that are specialized to certain industry sectors or careers. And so all of these, how to operate certain types of equipment, how to use different types of software, these are all technical skills. And so we're doing a great job of that in K-12. But what about, whoops, I didn't know that was a link. But what about the other 2 categories of skills? So the next category is essential skills. And these are useful for retaining work. And if you may have heard of essential skills and not realized it because they're referred to by a variety of names. So if you heard them called soft skills, 21st century skills, professional skills, thinking dispositions, or metacognitive skills, there's so many names, but they're all the same term for essential skills. And what they are a collection of social skills, personality traits, attitudes, and behaviors that we use all day, every day, from a young age all the way throughout the course of our life. We use them to navigate environments like a school environment, a work environment, or just a personal environment. We use them to learn new skills. We use them to develop and maintain relationships, and we use them to manage work. So these skills, we use them all the time and they're really important. But why are they relevant? Oh, excuse me. So what are some examples that we have? So here's a post that you can see on the right. This is something we did in collaboration with San Diego Workforce Partnership. So Sarah Burns, who is moderating today's panel, she's from San Diego Workforce Partnership. So we did this project with them. And we categorized essential skills into these 6 categories you can see here on the right. So communication, critical thinking, creativity, collaboration, initiative. You get the idea of what we talk about when we mean essential skills. But why do we care about them in the context of career readiness? Well, as part of their work, San Diego Workforce Partnership, so they are, as Sarah talked about, in case you missed it, they are our local workforce development board. So they provide Department of Labor employment services to San Diego County residents. But they also conduct a lot of labor market research. So they are scrubbing the internet for data on job postings. So they're looking at like Indeed.com. What are the skills and education and experience needed for different job postings? They also survey our regional employers and ask them questions about what are their needs, what are their challenges. And so something interesting that came out of that survey data was that they found that employers, the most difficult attribute they have when looking for entry-level candidates is strong essential skills. So these entry-level candidates, these are former high school students. These are people who just graduated high school, just graduated college. So these are our kids. So the people there, the skills that they're struggling to find in these candidates are these essential skills. So these skills are absolutely vital for our students to nail that first interview and that first application for that entry-level job or internship. But why do employers care so much about these skills? They are very important to initial job success. And I'll give you an example here. So let's say you have a student that's applying to an internship at like a biotech company. The biotech company is not going to expect any high school student to show up to the internship with 5 years of experience. It's just not feasible. But what they do want and what they can, reasonably expect is that they're looking for students who are going to show up on time, who are wearing appropriate attire, who can get along with customers and clients, who can get along with the rest of the team, who could take some initiative and problem solve on their own without always asking for help, who knows when it's appropriate to be on the phone or not to be on the phone. That's what employers are looking for. They can teach the technical skills on the job. We've all had new jobs where we've had to learn new software, new equipment, or a new work process. It's the same for the students. It's the same across sectors. That's the expectation. But the essential skills are much harder to teach someone. For us educators, the other reason essential skills are really important is that they're transferable across all sectors. And we keep developing them and we use them throughout our life. So if you have a student that's playing team sports, that teamwork, that communication they're learning, that will be relevant in let's say they're working in a fire department on a team. If they are interested in film, the problem solving, the creativity, those are both skills that could be applied in a hospital setting. So the technical skills might not carry over. You might not need soccer skills in a hospital, but those soft skills are going to transfer over. So I always have educators asking me, like, how do we prepare students for jobs that don't yet exist? I always tell them focus on these essential skills. They'll be with them for life. I have a slide like this at the end of each section to demonstrate that we are doing this skill development in schools, but to also focus on the areas of growth. So yes, we are absolutely developing these skills in school. So things like homework and project due dates, those totally simulate due dates in a work environment. Same with class start times. You have to show up on time to calls and meetings at work. Phone rules in the classroom, very great simulators. There are times when you just should never be on your phone. And then group projects are everything. There is no job that works completely in isolation. On the contrary, most jobs you're working with tons of different people. So being able to work as part of a group is vital. So that's the things we're already tackling. Areas of growth. Just a disclaimer here, throughout this presentation, we did a ton of research. So these areas of growth are not just my personal opinions. These come from labor market research, psychology research, feedback from employers. So it's not just coming from me, it's coming from our labor market and our experts. So areas of growth, public speaking would be huge. Any opportunities you can have to have students practice public speaking, it's huge for their communication. Journaling as well. Journaling is not only great for communication skills, but it also helps students with emotional intelligence. It helps them understand themselves better and maintain control during stressful moments. I thought that was very interesting. Incorporating project timelines into student projects. So having students work backwards. When is this project due? And then maybe they submit a timeline where it's like, here's what I'm going to do during the first 2 weeks. Here's what I accomplished during weeks 3 and 4, etc. Always incorporate interactions with professionals as much as you can. Give students practice observing employers. How do they dress? How do they speak? What is their body language like? We'll get more into that later. And then here's an interesting one: group evaluations. So if you have students doing group projects, incorporating an evaluation where they evaluate what it was like to work with each group member. And then they also reflect on how they think they performed as the group. And so this is awesome because it gives students a chance to think about, why did I like working with this person? Why didn't I like working with that person? And what are people's reactions to working with me? Maybe I had a great attitude, but I didn't do any of my sections on time. So things like that. It's great for growth and development. Any questions about soft skills or essential skills?
There are no questions in the chat.
All right. Again, feel free to unmute yourself, interrupt me at any time. You don't have to wait for breaks, but I will be stopping for breaks just in case. All right, so that third bucket of skills that's part of career readiness is application skills. This is about how you articulate the skills you have so that employers know this is the person we want. But application skills are not just relevant to career readiness. Of course, applications are important to jobs and college applications, but we apply to all types of things throughout our lives: scholarships, financial aid. Some of us work in grants, or we apply to personal grants. We have to apply to access certain types of services, other post-secondary opportunities like apprenticeships and other training programs. So application skills are incredibly important to our lives. I do a lot of mock interviews. Like if a certain high school is having a mock interview a day where they bring in professionals to interview their seniors. And so I see a lot of variance in the abilities of these students. And so I just wanted to include an example of two great students, but one that possesses strong application skills and one that could use support in this. So we have two students here who just completed an engineering CTE program, and they're applying for an internship at a manufacturing company in San Diego. So you have student one who they're talking about their skills, and they say, I got an A in my engineering course. This is awesome. This is definitely a student we're marking down. We're saying, oh, this kid's probably pretty smart, probably a pretty hard worker. Definitely put them on the short list for the internship. Student two comes up. They respond, yeah, in my engineering class, we designed and manufactured a product for a real world client using an iterative design process. During the project, I completed over 40 hours of training and use for a CNC milling machine and lathe machine. Which student would you hire? I know nothing about engineering or manufacturing, but what I love about the student two response is there are several examples that this person dropped in their pitch to their employer during this interview, during this job application, that gives very specific ideas around what their skill set is. They have training in 2 types of equipment. They have experience using a certain type of design process, and they have experience working with an employer in this field. So they have some level of understanding of what's expected of them. That's a 5-star response. And so that's the advantage of this application skills development, is you get students that can really articulate who they are, what they're interested in, what they can do, and they understand what the employer is looking for. And so again, this is our concluding slide for application skills. So things that schools are doing well: resume workshops, mock interviews. I've been to schools, they're doing these things. It's great. We need to keep doing them. We just need to improve on them. Another piece that I love are student work portfolios. So any opportunity you can see to have students display their work, like through a website, taking photos of a work, publishing an article, even if it's in like a school newspaper or just online, a video, whatever, any deliverable that they can share with an employer, that's awesome. In terms of areas of growth, you might see a theme here on the right, and that's getting employers involved. So not just having a resume workshop, but having an employer review a resume. Say, hey, this is what I'm looking for. What experience do you have from school, or maybe in your extracurriculars, that aligns with that? And talking with the student about their experiences. Some students might not realize babysitting has a ton of skill development involved in it. It shows responsibility. It shows problem solving. Have the student talk about times they've experienced problems and how they handled it. Employers love that stuff. That's huge. Every job is solving a problem. So problem solving is essential there. But giving students a chance to hear from an employer, here's what I'm looking for in a resume. Same with an interview, same with a portfolio. Giving students an idea of like, oh, here's what it looks like on the other side. Here's what they're expecting. Here's what they want to see. Having students practice elevator pitches. What does an elevator pitch format look like? How do you have students who can confidently, like student 2 in our example, confidently come in and say, here's what I'm about. And then with regard to work portfolios, getting student feedback on that work. These photos are great. This graphic design project was great. Here's what I'd recommend changing to take it to that next professional level that's going to blow people away. And some of the professional development we'll offer around these skills is informed by employers. So if you're wondering like, how the heck can I get all this? Don't worry, we'll talk about that. Employer involvement is a great segue into our next section, but I'm going to stop again just to see if anybody had any questions.
Let's see here. Yes, this is being recorded, so we will have this available for you later. Someone did ask if there's access to the slides.
Yes, I can add a link. I put these on Google Slides specifically so that I could share them with you guys. So don't worry, I will drop the link in here when we get to like questions, so you guys could totally access them. And we have some links in here for you to explore more. So yes. Okay. So let's talk about employer engagement. So how many times, I'm not going to ask if this has happened, but more how many times has this happened where you've been in a classroom, either as a student or as an educator, where a student has asked, why are we learning this? Why are we learning history? Why do I need to know English? What I love about employer involvement in education is it's the perfect response. Getting employers involved helps students bridge that connection. Here's what I'm doing in the classroom, and here's how it relates to my future outside of the classroom. And so what is this? What is employer involvement in school? I'm sure you guys have all heard the term work-based learning, but just in case you haven't, that's what the definition of work-based learning is. It is employers and schools coming together to help students think about careers and then prepare for those careers. What skills, experience, and training do I need to enter this career that I'm interested in? So that's how we get employers involved. And it can take a ton of different forms. It could be professionals coming to a classroom to present on their work. It could be a site tour. It could be mock interviews, informational interviews, internships, job shadows. Like we talked about, getting employers involved on projects, giving feedback about their work, career fairs, you name it. So there's so many ways you can get employer involvement. But let's get to the tough stuff. How do you actually build an employer network? How do you develop these relationships? So something our team did a few years back, we through a grant, got a grant where we did a survey of the CTE programs, and I think it was like 17 districts around San Diego County, high schools. And we asked CTE teachers specifically, when they do work-based learning, what types of work-based learning is it, and how did they develop that connection with an employer? And overwhelmingly, no matter what type of work-based learning activity they did, internships, guest speakers, whatever, the majority of the connections came from a personal relationship. So they had a friend or family member who worked in like Illumina, let's say, and that person would come in once a year and speak to all of that teacher's periods, like talk to like 100 students. So when looking for where to start, check out who is in your network. You have parents in your network who all work in different industries. You have vendors, your district or your school has vendors or contractors that might provide tech services. They might be, they might provide a software. They might provide financial services. These are all employers that can talk to your students. Write it into your contracts or just ask them. I'm sure they'd be willing to talk. Again, I'm gonna talk about this a lot. Teachers networks or staff's networks. We all have friends, family, or other coworkers that we can ask. And then of course your student alumni. They're all a fantastic resource. So be sure to tap into your network. That's how you get started. But employer engagement's not just about creating relationships. A huge part of it is maintaining relationships. So again, going back to that survey data I talked about, another aspect of that survey was around how many times, like, is this an ongoing relationship? Was it a one-off relationship? Almost all of these personal relationships were ongoing. Why do you think employers kept wanting to come back? Why were these friends just coming back semester after semester, year after year? So we did another survey. We asked for feedback. So our team coordinates a bunch of work-based learning activities on behalf of the county districts. So we surveyed employers after our hundreds of our activities, and we asked them, so what makes you come back? And the number one thing that they said was student preparedness and engagement. So employers loved it when students seemed to know something about their sector or about their organization, and were asking poignant questions and seemed interested in the subject matter. And that makes sense, right? Like who doesn't like someone who is interested in you and your work, right? That makes for a good conversation, a good interaction. So that is a huge piece around maintaining your relationships, is making sure students are prepared. We'll talk more about that later. Another piece is on us as educators and protecting our reputation. So we all represent San Diego education system. If you're here from outside of San Diego, you're representing the California or United States education system, or maybe your own region. But consider how you represent the education system. Everything you do is a reflection of us as a system. And I can tell you that we have coordinated activities where something happened with the class we coordinated with, and the employer had a bad experience. And when we've gone back to the employer and said, hey, we have another school that would love to take a tour, they're like, I think we're not gonna do those anymore. We're doing some other philanthropy stuff. It has happened. And so each time we have that bad experience, that's a lost opportunity for other students and other schools, or your school and your students. So just think about that reputation again. So just the basics: be on time, stay to the end of any activity, wear the proper attire. So if they're asking you to wear closed-toed shoes, wear long pants, make sure the students are doing so, make sure you're doing so. And the most important piece, appreciate the effort of the employer. They spend time, resources, and more on these activities. They're taking time out of their day. Sometimes they spend lots of money to make sure you have a great experience. So show your appreciation. Make sure you're saying thank you before and after. That's huge. All right. So again, yeah, we're already doing this. I haven't come across a school or a district that isn't doing work-based learning. Everybody has some level of employer network. Everybody's doing some level of employer engagement and work-based learning. My challenge, where we can grow, my vision is that in the San Diego education system, each staff person provides 2 connections. And we talked about those networks. So it could be like a friend, a family member. So if you take that, let's say we have a school with 10 faculty and staff, just 10. So it's a teeny school. And they each provide 2 employer connections. That's 20 employer connections. That's crazy. That's way more than you would ever need. And that would be awesome. If you have 100 faculty and staff, that's 200 employer connections. That's more than you need. So if we had every school doing that, we'd be the best connected region in the world, probably. So that's what I want to see. I want to see us on the cutting edge of that employer engagement. Again, recapping other things I mentioned. So those interactions with employers, making sure students are prepared and reflecting around a work-based learning activity. Research has shown that students get the most out of an interaction when they've done a little prep work, like researching the speaker, looking at their LinkedIn, researching the organization, and then some reflection on the back end. How does this relate to my career goals? What did I like or not like? How does this relate to what we're learning in class? Huge. And we have some tools that I can send you around those. Give students a little prep when they're going to interact with an employer. So like going to a job fair, give them a talk about how to dress, practice the handshake. So like web to web, making sure it's firm, not just, don't grab the fingers. Just little things like that leave a good impression on an employer. And then always be thinking about how do you maintain the positive reputation of working with San Diego schools. Any questions about that? Okay.
No questions.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
Oh, no questions in the chat.
Oh, no questions. Okay. Last area for growth is around making career events that are engaging and impactful for students. How many of us have been to or thrown this event? Classic job fair. So you're in a gym, you've got dozens of employers at tables, and students usually have a little card where they have to go get stamps from the employer to prove that they talk to them so they don't just hang out with each other in the corner. There's nothing wrong with this format. It's awesome to get students out there and interacting with tons of different employers. However, it's not the best way for students to get a deep view into different types of career and organizations. I remember going to career fairs when I was in school and just sort of milling about, and it sort of felt like I got like the same pitch over and over again. And I didn't really learn what was it like to work for that organization. What was the work environment like? What was the work-life balance? What did you do on a daily basis? And it's not really that fun for employers either, because they just keep getting the same question like, oh, what is your organization? They just have to say the same thing over and over again to a bunch of students. So we want to change from this format into this format, these photos you see on the left. So career events should be, we're leaning towards 3 hours. I put 3 to 6 just to be generous, but even our team, we're like, let's shorten it, 3-4 hours tops. We still want employers and colleges, but rather than have a bunch of employers, like 50 employers, it's quality over quantity. So we'd prefer to honestly have 4 or 5 who can really get deep down and provide breakout sessions with engaging hands-on activities or workshops. So you can see in these photos, we have the students are doing a robotics thing where they're at this event and they're programming robots to go through a labyrinth. You can see in the second photo, there's students at a farm. This is one we just did a couple weeks ago. And they're learning about sustainable agriculture and the role of chickens in sustainable agriculture from a professional farmer. So really, that's a lot more engaging than just going to a a table with a commercial farmer. And then at the bottom, we have a panel of employees talking about engineering careers and getting in depth about like, how much do I get paid? How did I get into this career? Things like that. So just food for thought. I do have a video here. Let me check the time. Yeah, I'm gonna check. I'm gonna unplug my AirPods so you can hear.
All right, can you guys hear me? All right. Okay, so I'm just going to show an example of a career event. So this is from our careers in public service. They did a little news article on it. It's a 2-minute video.
A few hundred high school students got an inside look at careers in public service. Now, this was an opportunity that many students say it's going to help them decide what field to get into now. KUSI's Elizabeth Alvarez has our details.
About 300 high school students arrived on buses to the San Diego Continuing Education Complex for the 4th annual Career in Public Service event. The event hadn't even started, and already Dylan Justice, or DJ as he likes to go by, was excited as he looked through his swag bag.
So like there's a water bottle and also probably a journal so we can write down all the cool information that they're going to be giving us, and a pen and Rice Krispie treats.
Sure.
Awesome.
I love
I'm looking forward to see like all the different careers that they have there and what they actually do, because I'm not sure what I want to do after high school. So this will be a pretty cool taste of what the work field is like.
Yeah. The morning started off with a big welcome in the auditorium. Then the students were off to various workshops. They also stopped by the different expo-style booths where they got to speak one-on-one with representatives from a variety of public service careers.
I speak all over the city and I tell people, I guarantee you $100 to a pack of cookies that you have never met an African-American female firefighter that works for the city of San Diego. Early access is super important. And a lot of times we don't know what we don't see. And so this is an opportunity for us to bring almost 40 different agencies to the educational cultural complex to expose the students to a wide variety of careers.
What I found interesting was I like the Humane Society a lot, and the healthcare services that they have, like the ICE. That was interesting.
We have definitely students that are interested in the careers that are here, everything from the law enforcement areas to fire department, EMT, military areas. So today is a great opportunity for them to come and meet people that are in the careers and find out more about what that career is actually going to be like if they follow through with going on those career paths.
In San Diego, Elizabeth Alvarez, KUSI News.
Okay. Get back into here. Sorry, let me connect my audio real quick.
All right, can you guys hear me okay again?
Yes.
All right, awesome. So I like that video because it kind of shows a few aspects of what we just talked about. So you could see that people were bringing equipment. You don't have to call it at the beginning, but there was some law enforcement bringing in actual equipment. You have fire trucks there. You have people talking about, we had a labor market data presentation. And we did have this is one where we do have a ton of employers. I know I said like, yeah, job fairs, we have all these, we want to avoid just having a bunch of tables and employers, but we also incorporated breakout sessions so that students could get an in-depth look at a certain career and have an intimate conversation with an employer to learn more. I'm not going to play these videos over here on the right, but I just wanted to note that we also do these virtually, and it's possible to do them virtually. And you can see in this photo, we're actually doing a canine demonstration with a canine unit, and you can see all of the panelists of this one session of this event. You can see them all at the bar at the top. And so we had about like 7 or 8 sessions that were all virtual, and we provided a Zoom link. So if you're worried about doing stuff in person, I hope we're all back to in person soon, but if we have to go back to all virtual, just know that it's still possible. Again, I covered all of this. We have these job fairs. That's awesome. Large events. I have people who throw schools who throw these events with dozens of employers and colleges. Unfortunately, usually I get a call from one person saying like, "Hey, I'm in charge of this career fair. I need 80 employers. It's a month away. How can you help me?" So things that I'd like to see change. I mentioned it. Hands-on interactive workshops. Somehow incorporating intimate interactions. So a breakout session with one employer. Maybe students get to choose which session they go to. Maybe they rotate and go to all of them. And then this last piece is avoid just putting one person in charge of it. It's a ton of work. Instead, engage employers early and include them in the planning process. Create a planning committee. All right, any questions before we go into the last piece here? All right. Well, again, feel free to stop me. And I think we're right on time here. Yeah, we are. Cool. So this next section, I'm going to talk about opportunities that we can provide you to help you in these areas. So let's get into it. So during COVID, we created virtual trainings in these 4 areas. So we have training in, they're on Canvas courses, which I'll talk about more in a second. But we have a training in application skills. So how to help students ace jobs and internship applications, and one in soft skills. So how do you make students better collaborators, more creative problem solvers, etc. And here's the curriculum for each of those. There's 3 modules for each. Application skills, we have one on resume writing, interview prep, and then there's a 3rd one on labor market data and how to use that to identify careers you're interested in and what those industry employers are looking for. And then the essential skills modules are critical thinking and creativity, communication, collaboration, and emotional intelligence, and dependability and workplace etiquette. I mentioned this earlier, but I wanted to reiterate, we did a ton of research for these. These are not just, we're not in the field just based on our personal experiences. This is based on feedback from employers that we've gained from conversations with employers. It's based on research from psychology articles, labor market data, articles talking about employers speaking about skills they need or common issues they find with regard to application skills and essential skills. So just wanted to make sure you know it's not just SDCOE's opinion. Then we have one trainings on employer engagement and student conference coordination. So the employer engagement talks about how to reach out to employers, how to make that first contact, how to pitch your program in school. It also talks about how to maximize your relationship with an employer and how to prepare for and navigate issues that may arise when you're working with industry, because it does happen. And there's even a piece around how to engage employers virtually. Career events. This is for that one person. If you're the person at your district who's in charge of planning the career fair, please take this or have someone take this with you. It covers all the phases of planning an awesome career event, from forming a planning committee and budgeting, all the way to what to do on the day of an event and the importance of recap and follow up. And you can see some information, some photos we have here on the right, an event checklist, and then some examples of virtual activities we did last year. One around fashion, and that one at the bottom is actually a knee surgery. There's another one that zoomed in, but that one was too graphic. But it was a live knee surgery, or a recorded knee surgery that had live commentary by a doctor. So that one was awesome. So now I actually just want to show you how these courses work. So I'm going to show you mine. This is the essential skills training. I just want to show you what they're like. So if you've ever taken a lynda.com course or a LinkedIn learning course, it's just like that. So there's quick short videos. So let's do, here's the one I have selected: communication, collaboration, emotional intelligence. So they're short videos. So let's say we have one here on like body language. Let's see how long this video is. So this one is 6 minutes, 50 seconds. So you watch this, and then you could see here we have a bunch of resources that we provide. And when you complete each activity, we give you all of our resources. So we talk about a bunch of different activities you can do with your students. So we provide you all of the activity worksheets and guidelines, and a rubric if you need to know if there's like an answer key required or something like that, or a sample. We provide you our slides. So if it's like essential skills and application skills and you're actually training students, we give you the slides and you can change them, you can edit them, fit your own purposes. So yeah, we want to give you them all. And we have supplemental resources that we send you to. I forgot to mention, these are train the trainer modules. So these are all meant for teachers. So we want to build capacity in educators. So it could be a site admin, counselors, teachers, district admin, whoever can take these courses. They're free for San Diego County educators. And we want to build capacity in you to offer them to students. And then, like I said, we provide you all of the resources, and they're asynchronous. So just like lynda.com, just like LinkedIn Learning, you can take these on your own schedule at any time. So if you want to sit through and just do one, I think they're about an hour and a half, maybe a little less each of them. If you could just sit through and cram it out in an hour and a half, that's awesome. You could also just do one video a day during your lunch break. You could do it on the weekends. You could do it mornings, nights, whatever. We wanted to make this as flexible and as accessible as possible. However, I should mention, it's not all fun and games. So you watch these videos, but after each section, you have to complete a quiz. So for example, this is a one on body language. You're seeing the admin view, so it'll look a little different from a student view. But so this is a 2-question quiz. It's really short, but you have to pass it before you move on. I've definitely had some frantic emails from teachers asking me to reset because they took the quiz too many times and failed it. I think you get like 2 or 3 tries, so you got to pay attention. So here's an example of a question: when humans interpret verbal communication, what percentage of our understanding comes from body language? That's interesting. By the way, if you're wondering, I think the answer is 55%. I wrote this quiz, but it was a while ago. But yeah, I think 55% of our understanding is body language. Fun fact about essential skills. Which of these is an example of a professional response when a supervisor asks, "Are you feeling well?" "No, I need to sleep." "I'm not feeling well and I may need to take the rest of the day off if it's all right. I will make sure to meet all of my deadlines this week." That's probably the right answer. Just grunt or respond, "I feel terrible." So, they're not the hardest quiz questions, but they're to provide learning. So that gives you a taste of how those courses work. They're all follow the same format. So just again, train the trainer format. It's asynchronous learning. You get access to everything. We want you to use them. We want to share them, and it's free if you're in San Diego County. Yeah.
We know that it's free for the San Diego County educators. There was a question in the chat if this was free for teachers outside of San Diego County.
Ooh, for now it is. It may not be someday. So if whoever asked that question, you can register for it for free, and that's totally cool. Just don't tell anybody else. But yeah, we feel free to use it and steal our stuff and repurpose it for your own needs. But yes, it is technically still free for everybody. I just didn't want to set people outside of San Diego up and they're like, "Wait a minute, you charged me." But yeah, go for it. So here's the links. And again, I'm going to provide you a link to the slide so you can go through and access all of these links. So to register for Canvas trainings, so those are the ones I just showed you, you can access them at this link. We also do provide in-person trainings. And so I've included the links to the forms here. Actually, you know, I'll just drop these in right now. Oh, wait, can I? No, back.
Let me see if I can.
I'm going to share the link to the presentation.
Okay, yeah.
And that way you guys can run through it, and I'll do that right now. That way you guys can run through it and click those links. I'm gonna whoop. There you go. That's the, I should have dropped that in earlier. Sorry about that. Yes, so you can access that presentation. Let me know if you have any issues right now, and I thought I put the sharing settings correctly, but things happen. If you are, this is definitely for only San Diego educators. We do provide these trainings in person, so we can do like a staff professional development around application skills, around soft skills, employer engagement, etc. We're limited in terms of how many we can do a year in a semester, but we do offer that. So you just fill out this form, and we'll get back to you. I do suggest that you do the Canvas trainings. That's definitely a more effective means, because we do fill up, and it's hard for us to coordinate sometimes with everybody's schedules. But we do supply them in person. We do not give the application skills and essential skills training directly to students. We only do that for our JCCS schools. So I do get a lot of questions around that. Unfortunately, we do not provide that except to JCCS. But we will be happy to do professional development for your staff. If there's any questions, this is your chance. If you've been holding back, fire away. And then just important, I don't know if Lydia, you dropped in the eval, but I would love it if you guys completed an eval, heard your feedback about this session or these resources. We do actually look at these evals after the fact and use them to improve all of our events. So they do mean a lot to us. And here's my email. You can also reach out to me directly if you have questions about the resources. If you just want to chat college and career readiness, work-based learning, happy to do so. Or if you have any issues accessing anything, happy to do that as well.
Alex, I do have a question for you, if I can ask. So our school, I'm with San Diego Virtual School, so we're fully online, teachers and students. And today we've been choosing an essential skill each month to highlight. And one of the teachers today asked that, because we're doing communication for the month of November with our students, and they asked if we had any resources on virtual communication. And I'm finding it really hard to find resources on because, you know, the body language, all of that, we literally we do have a chat and we can do Google Meet, but do you have resources right now? I mean, in the virtual communication, especially moving forward, where a lot of our students are now interviewing virtually, and we're trying to kind of go over this. I just am not, I'm finding like adult things, but not as much for high school kids to make it relevant, and just wondered if you have resources that I could offer to my staff.
That's a really good question.
And you don't have to, because the internet does not have much. And we started talking about it, and I was like, well, it's something that we've spent so much time. I love communication as the conversation, but now it really is changing in the shift of, you know, how to teach them appropriateness in that for interviewing and everything.
Yes. You know what? So what's funny is we actually considered adding that to our Canvas course. And the reason we didn't was because there was so much overlap with just general communication skills. So there was some technical things, like obviously checking that your like audio and your video, etc. But it was very small relative to the rest of the advice, which was all just general communication, like sitting down for an interview, like general application skills. I think there is a virtual element in our application skills training. Other than that, the only person who I have seen that I can recall off the top of my head is, if you know who Danny Rubin is, he is a former educator, is now a vendor. I have seen that he does he does have a specific like cheat sheet or like tips for exactly what you're talking about: virtual communication, virtual interviews, things like that. If you email me, I can think about it a little bit more and try to come up with other stuff, because it happens to me all the time where someone asks me a question and then an hour later I'm like, duh, like I should have told them about this resource, but I didn't think of it at the time.
All right, thank you so much.
But yeah, be sure to
Oh,
email
sorry.
me. Yeah,
Can you see the certificate on the screen?
I can.
Okay, good. I can't see it, so just want to make
Oh
sure.
yeah.
And
Well,
we-
yeah, that's important. I was going to share some bonus resources,
Okay.
but I'll let you leave that up on the screen for another minute.
Okay. And then we had another question if students from outside San Diego County can attend the Careers in Public Service event. And I'm not sure because we've had them in person before.
Yeah. So virtually, yes. If
Mhm.
we're doing it virtually, we will. I think we're still determining if it's virtual or in person. Virtually, it's sort of like we can pretty much take as many people as we want. If it's in person, unfortunately, no, we do restrict that to San Diego County. That was one of like those weird, unforeseen positives of working during the pandemic, was we could really open it up to everyone and we could have unlimited participation. So stay tuned. We will. I think it's going to be in person this year, though. However, not to leave you with nothing, I'm going to drop this link into our chat. What I can offer you is, this is for all the people who stayed late. People from San Diego will be familiar with this, maybe not the people outside of San Diego, but this is a link to our website. And on the page I dropped in there is our sector resources. So we recorded a bunch of work-based learning activity, like, I don't know, over 100 across all sectors. And it's virtual guest speaker presentation, virtual site tours, virtual panels. And we have a bunch in public services. So one of my favorite ones is we did a tour of one of the downtown San Diego firehouses. It's awesome. They talk to the bomb squad. They talk to all types of people. It's really cool. So that's open to anybody, anytime. Feel free to use that. Have your students check it out. Let's see if I had anything else. Other resources. Oh, yes. So I mentioned tools around work-based learning. So I talked about how like preparation and reflection is really important. So here's another page on our website that is, and Lydia actually helped put these together. These are tools around any work-based learning activity. So some of them are checklists, making sure that you as an educator are prepared for, like, if someone's coming on your site, making sure there's parking, making sure they know where to check in, they know where your classroom is, etc. Some things are activities you can do with students, preparation and reflection. We have internship guidelines. So if you're trying to set up an internship for school credit, what does that look like? What are the contracts you need? I'm going to shout out to San Diego Unified. We took their resources because they were so good and just repurposed them. What else is on there? Yeah, there's a ton of stuff on there. We're going to be adding things like how to set up a pre-apprenticeship program that'll happen next year. Yeah, so work-based learning tools, very useful. Let's see, what else do I have? We have, can I share my screen again, Lydia?
Yep, I'm going to stop it right now.
Oh, thanks. It's just easier. So sorry, this one's only for San Diego educators. It's my last thing. But we have a work-based learning mailing list. And I personally email, I collect them from our whole team. My team will send me things like an opportunity with an employer, and I just mail it out to our mailing list. So San Diego educators, if you want to sign up for this mailing list, click this form. It's on the last slide, and you can sign up. Lydia, who's on our call right now, she's our Zoom host. She reviews these forms, so you can bet it'll happen. And we add you to our mailing list. And so, for example, last year we had over 150 opportunities that we coordinated last year, and I emailed out, I think 102 to this mailing list during last school year. So far this school year, I think I've emailed about 40. And just some examples of the things we're sending out. So like last year, we had a virtual internship with Union Tribune. There was a resources day for biotech and science STEM educators, basically from the Salk Institute. We did, in the past, we've done media production workshops with our own TV department at county office. They're amazing. Kids using like real camera, lighting equipment, sound equipment, and creating mini videos. And then things like that Careers in Public Service student event. We have about 6 or 7 of those each year. Not Careers in Public Service. There's different industry sectors. One of them is Careers in Public Service. But you'll get notifications about those, how to register and all that. So definitely sign up for that list. I apologize to the non-San Diego people. That is actually one we do screen for. So you could totally get the secret in on the Canvas trainings, but the mailing list is strictly San Diego. Sorry. Yeah, so I think that was all I had. Let me just look back here. There might be an extra, even a bonus slide. Nope, that was it. So I'm just going to put my email up here again. So thank you guys all so much for attending.